How you doing?
Doing good. So I first want to start off by telling you that one, it's an honor to be kind of virtually meeting you.
My
Um,
pleasure.
every April, um, me and 2,000 of my closest friends, we get online and we do a online kind of chat room ish role playing game where we literally recreate the maiden voyage of the Titanic, the
Hmm.
whole thing. And I can speak on behalf of many of those players, myself included, that it wasn't Ballard's discovery of Titanic that got us into it. It was the film.
Well,
And um, I will be honest. I do help facilitate the game, and I get to look at the registrations every year. And Cal Hockley, for some reason, shows up every single year. Cal does, Rose does, Jack does. They never play the story out, but for some reason, they love putting him on the ship. Don't ask me why.
how does that? Can you explain how? I don't understand the
So,
structure. Forgive me. One, I'm fascinated and would love to know. Or my manager is online, so if you could give any link or
so
name, that would
it's
be. I'd
so
be
it's
fascinated to follow it or find out more about this event.
So we're on Facebook. It's under Titanic Voyage. It's a role playing game. The website's www.titanic-voyage.com.
Okay.
And what it is you sign up, you'll create a character. You can be yourself, you can be any historical character. I've created a number of them. Just, me being a historian, I love creating characters that are kind of more into history. So I'll do
Mhm.
like a history professor, and it's all online. It's like a big online chat room, but you get to be in the different rooms on Titanic. And so we all play this story out. We're all characters on this virtual Titanic, and then at 11:40 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, Titanic hits the iceberg, and then it's everyone for themselves trying to figure out how we're going to get off the ship.
And what is that
And it is
experience like? Is it? Are you in a virtual space? Are you an avatar? Is it a game, or is it all text
it's
driven presently?
it's um it's multi. I mean, you can see the rooms, you can see there's like an animation up in the corner.
Wow.
It's actually quite immersive. We've got sounds, we've got music, we've pulled stuff from from the film, we've pulled all this different stuff
Hmm.
to try and make this. It really is more all text based, but we've got images and sound, so everything just kind of really immerses you. And by the end of the sinking, I find myself every year, even though I do it every year, just breaking down and sobbing,
Wow.
because it is just one of those moments where, whether you live or die, you've gone through something that is just powerful. And so, really quick question: what was kind of your favorite moment when you were filming Titanic? Because I know you got one of those really big pivotal scenes where you got to chase Jack and Rose down the grand staircase.
Indeed. That was certainly memorable and epic. And it's funny. There's a line in the film. I never let it in. You know what I mean? Bill Paxton's character says. The Ballard character, I guess. And then it hits him. The story hits him. Now, while making it, you know, there were different opportunities to let it resonate, but there were moments when it lands, and you feel the gravitas of the event and the loss and the responsibility to those souls and their relatives. And that was a, among there were many occurrences and fairly incongruous moments when that had happened and really resonated. Um, the most thrilling were, in one of the scenes when 2,000 of the character background artists were all fleeing and running and whatnot, and think we were in the foreground of a shot. Of I just remember being, having all of that activity happening behind me and just going, God, this is, cinema at its best. What a privilege. And the orchestra, the band were real musicians, and that, the haunting music that they were playing while all that was happening, it was just so immersive. So I can imagine that what you're doing hits home because you're in it, and you're in it live. Wait till if you're a Facebook group, wait till Zuck launches his metaverse, you'll be really able to enjoy this in a very interesting way, I imagine.
It is incredibly wonderful. So I just want to say it is just one of those things that you just feel immensely. So from the bottom of my heart and from the bottom of the hearts of those of us who get to play this amazing game year after year, I just want to say thank you for giving 2,200 people a voice here in the 21st century, because I think it is very important. And I mean, Titanic, I don't want to say is one of those subjects that shouldn't be explored, because there are probably more worthy subjects, but they had their own stories to tell. They had their journeys that they wanted to go. They had their lives they wanted to live. And only 700 of them got to. And so for you to be able to help tell the other 1,500 stories that happened that night, it is an honor and a privilege being able to just say thank you from a historian for helping bring this story to life. And
thank you so much.
And truly. I remember the first time I got to see it in theaters, and I never got to see it the first run, but when it came back out in 2012 for the 100th, and I left, and it was just the most awe-inspiring moment, because I had seen the film obviously before, but it was just this moment of, wow, that was intense.
Have you seen it in 3D?
Yes, I did see it in 3D.
That's stunning, I feel. I think it's even more gripping in that, when drama in 3D is fascinating to me, because there's very few that have been made in that way. This is probably the only one. None others can really afford it. For the 2.5 hours, it's a soap opera, and then it's an action movie for 20 minutes. When the 3D focuses on the closest thing to the lens, which is the eye, you fall into the inner life. The third dimension is an internal one. So you really, I think, get drawn into the narratives of maybe characters who were perhaps competing a little bit more with the background and the epic scale. You suddenly fall into a lot of the inner lives of the second stories and third stories. I found much more. I just found it very gripping. And if you've enjoyed the film, I recommend it in 3D, which clearly you've seen. Well, thank you so much for your kind words, and I'm fascinated by this group, and it would be interesting to be more familiar with what is afoot. And you do it on the day of the sinking. You do it on the anniversary.
It's April 10th through the 18th. The 10th through the 14th, we're on the ship. The 14th through the early hours of the 15th, we do the sinking, and then the 15th through the 18th, we're on the Carpathia, all the way to New York.
My God,
it's a long week, but it is so worth it.
And how many hours a day do you dedicate to the experience?
I'm normally on it 12-ish, maybe longer. I take a whole week off from work for it. So
wow, I'm fascinated. I might have to drop in.
We would love it. So we've got a page set. As I said, we've got Facebook. So if you want to drop us a message, we can get you all set up.
If you don't mind, that might be really interesting. All right. Well, thank you very much for sharing.
Thank you.
Really grateful. Thank you kindly.